Hello everyone. Are you tired of dying, glitching through walls, falling through the world, or maybe you're too underleveled and your Pokemon don't do anything 90% of the time? Like, what are these guys even doing? They're just hanging out casually like they're friends. Next thing you know, it's like they're having a staring contest or something. But when they do help, they squish the boss through the floor. Yo, Penkin, who are you? How to catch all legendary pals. This works 90% of the time on all legendary pals. It's super easy to do. It does not require any of your pals to help. It's guaranteed to work, but however, it requires some setup, building resources, and it uses a lot of ammo. Some of the requirements are resources for the walls and structures. You must be within 10 levels of the boss that you're trying to catch, and you need lots of ammo. So there's actually a couple ways to do this. For arenas, you stand behind a pillar and have the boss dash into the pillar. Once that happens, they get stuck and you pretty much win. Now for the other bosses, what you have to do is build a platform and a wall right next to the edge of the boss arena. Try to get this as close as possible to the boss arena. Make sure that the walk area is at least 2 squares or 2 platforms. Otherwise, if you get too close to the wall, you can take splash damage. Also, make sure that your elevation is high or low enough to the boss. You can build the wall with windows or little gaps or however you want to do it. It doesn't really matter. You just have to experiment a little bit. The opening is what allows you to shoot them from a distance. Also consider that each boss is slightly different because of the height of the model, their vision, and their different attacks. You're gonna have to observe each boss and kind of like estimate how tall they are. For this boss, notice how I'm on the 3rd level. Step 2. Once that is done, lure the boss to the structure, they get stuck. Now you can take your time. If you want to speed this up, you can use your pals beforehand, then run to the structure. But keep in mind that I didn't do this because we're all under leveled here. So in my case, I use whatever I had at the time. And 90% of the time, my pals don't actually attack anyways because of the bug. So this setup is pretty easy. You don't have to jump around, dodge, attack, or do any of that nonsense. All you have to do is set things up correctly. Now, here's an example on a bad setup and what not to do. I messed this one up by accident. The model for this boss was kind of weird, so it shot me through the wall and has some kind of fire text that burned everything down. In this case, I should have used stone instead of wood, but it was my first time, so I didn't know. I thought it was a water Pokemon. Don't do this. Let's move on to another example. Here again, we are repeating the same steps again. We are building the structure, luring the boss over, the boss gets stuck, we attack it and bring it down to 5 HP, then we catch it. Again, keep in mind that every footage I'm showing you today is my first time, so if I can do it, you can do it too. It's really easy. As long as we pay attention to how the boss works, its model, and its mechanics. This Univolt is actually shorter than the King Paka, so I made my platform shorter. And for reference, I'm standing on the 2nd level. Notice how the boss wants to attack us, but it can't because it has no vision to lock onto us. Also notice the hitbox for its head is actually extended because of the unicorn and ears. The next example we're doing is the Gyarados looking kind of Pokemon. We are going through the same 3 steps again. Build the structure, lure the boss, catch the boss. This guy is actually huge. In this case, even though he's so big, we're still standing on the 2nd level, same as the other, because the best position is actually to be right under it. This boss might be looking at us right from above, but is not actually able to target us due to this height and size. We're actually too far below it for it to attack us. For Blazemud or any of these like weird cave stuff, again we follow the same steps. In this case we're using stone or metal so our structure doesn't catch on fire. Metal walls are preferred so you don't accidentally destroy your wall with your gun. What is different about this boss is he can jump really high and things can get out of control. So we make the wall also really high before things get out of hand. But you have to be careful because his fire attacks can actually go through the walls. When you get it down to 5 HP, it's actually better if you run in to catch it because it can get stuck in the ceiling. To make things easier, you can build a PAL box nearby before the fight starts in case something goes wrong. Stygian, you built the wall, shoot it. Just notice how it's basically the same thing with some minor differences. Its giant purple ball attack can't actually touch you if you do it right, but the light purple ones can actually go through the walls because it's bugged. Ice King Paka, again, same thing. It's all really the same thing. The problem with this guy in particular is that when you catch him, he can still glitch through the ceiling in the arena, and I think you guys kind of get the point by now. In our final example, we have Jet Dragon. Again, we placed a power box nearby just in case something goes wrong. This boss is actually similar to the Gyarados looking boss. Looking at the boss model and how this boss is shaped and everything, the best position is actually way up high in the sky above or right underneath it. I chose to be right underneath it because it's easier for me to aim at it since I'm closer. For this one, I'm actually standing on ground level and I'm using the walls to get the boss stuck and raise the boss above me a little bit. Again, it doesn't really have a way to target me because it can't give vision and lock onto me. The head or eyes of the boss model needs to be able to see me to attack me. The AI knows that I'm here and is trying to reposition itself to attack me, but it can't because the walls I built and it's stuck. Even though I brought over 1,000 bullets, this guy has over 10,000 health, so I have to conserve ammo. Now I'm gonna let you guys watch the rest of this video uninterrupted. See you guys later.